This is Two Chicks Talkin Flicks, where we review movies. Love them or hate them, someone's got to do it. So enjoy the show. Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm April.
And this is Two Chicks Talkin Flicks.
And anything else that gets in the mix.
So, April.
Yes.
This movie today.
Yes. We did The Paper Tigers because a few weeks back, we were trying to find a movie to do.
Yeah.
And I was going online trying to find something that was more current.
Yes.
And I found this. We saw the trailer and it looked really good.
It did. It looked really funny.
Yeah.
It looked entertaining, but we just couldn't do it at the time.
Yeah. So we finally have come back around to it. And I will say that the trailer does not match up with what this film actually is.
I feel like there was a giant bait and switch situation.
Yeah.
Where was the humor?
Yeah, the film was actually more serious, and the trailer made it seem like a comedy.
Yeah. It was very different. I mean, there was some humor.
But I think they used all of the humor in the trailer.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, it literally made it seem like it was like the movie Tag, where a group of friends get back together after all these years.
And have to solve a mystery.
Yeah, and it's like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That is not what we got.
Mm-mm.
I'm not even sure if I know what we were watching at all. Like, I know what we were watching, but like, why?
Yeah. So I get the part where you're trying to solve the mystery.
Yes, that is understandable.
And then you end up trying to fight for the clan, the dojo that doesn't really exist anymore. Like you're fighting for the clan, for the house. So, okay.
Yeah. So basically a backstory. So we have these three friends or three kids, and they are working with their Sifu. And they are the paper tigers.
Yeah.
And they grow up and they're really good fighters. So they go and do these little fights against other people, and
they are undefeated.
Yeah, and Danny 8 Hands is really great. And him and his friend Jim, they leave and they go to Japan and leave their other friend alone with their Senfu, and he learns how to be a healer like the Senfu. And then he kind of stops seeing him, and the guy is by himself, and we find out later that he has been helping this other kid learn how to do this. But what they were told is that Danny 8 Hands is the next heir, and he is the only one.
Yeah.
And he has a special tattoo that like represents that he is the only Senfu of the future.
It wasn't a tattoo, it was a branding.
Oh, okay, branding. And then we find out that this guy also has it. And somehow their Senfu died of a heart attack, but they don't believe that's real. And then this other guy dies almost in the same way. And we find out that it was this kid
who's an assassin, who's taken those skills and become an assassin. So
for why?
I don't understand. I get why he killed his master, I guess because he wanted to be the head of the clan.
Yeah.
But why would he kill the other dude?
But it sounds like their Senfu wasn't even doing anything.
Well, I think for our main Senfu, seafood, for him it was all about
honor
and balance. Like, you know, you don't do this for money. You don't do this to fight, you know, like you do it
begrudgingly.
Yeah, it's more of like you fight to hone in your skills, but you never do it from anger.
Yeah.
You never do it for power.
Yeah.
So that's why he was okay teaching these kids out of his garage. He never wanted to open up his own, like,
dojo.
Yeah, that was never what he wanted.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's just out of nowhere, this guy just goes and kills 2 people. We don't even know why he killed the other person.
Not only that, but when we were talking to Carter, Carter said that apparently he had been going around challenging other people as well. And he chickened out and just like turned off the lights and pretended nobody was home.
Yeah.
But it never explained like why he was like, did he just want it to be the master of all the houses?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
And they have this rule or saying that there can only be one king on the mountain or one tiger on the mountain.
Yeah.
Or one lion on the mountain.
Something like that.
And so that's why this guy was going around and trying to get rid of Danny 8 Hands because they're both supposed the next heir. And
I guess, so obviously we're not in this realm, right? So just think about it. Let's say you've always wanted to be like the head of your house. Yeah. You find this sensei or sifu who had 3 disciples that he hasn't seen in years. So basically, if those 3 stay out of the picture and you kill him, then you are now the head of your house.
Yeah.
You know? Of course, he was not expecting the other 3 to show up and defend their house. So,
yeah. And one other thing I don't understand is when they went to Japan, the 2 of them.
Yeah.
He left him. He left Jim. Danny 8 Hands quit. Yeah. But he never said why.
Yeah. Like I obviously you find out the backstory later because you don't fight for money.
Yeah.
Which is fine if that finally sunk into his head. But I feel like after all of these years, their relationship should have been to the point where he could have told both his partner, Jim, and gone back and spoke with his sensei. Or I keep saying sensei, but yeah. And same thing with the other friend who was doing the medicine. So he didn't show up one weekend.
Yeah.
You could have just lied and said, I got busy, I couldn't go.
Yeah.
You know, I don't understand why they let these little things get in the way of years of camaraderie.
Yeah. And then he doesn't get mad, but he kind of says, well, you know, you didn't just leave him, you left me too. It's been 15 years and neither one of you came and said anything to me. Yeah. And I'm like, it's a 2-way street, bro. You didn't go find them either. So you can't really be mad at somebody else for not saying something to you when you didn't try to reach out to them either. You know, or at least they didn't give us that part of the backstory.
Yeah.
It would. Okay, I don't know if you've heard this, but I heard that they have a computer and they use this program and it makes Hallmark movies or like spits out Hallmark movies. And I kind of feel like that's what happened with this movie. They were like, okay, so we want something about kind of karate, kind of a 3 ninjas thing, and kind of a, oh God, what was that movie? We just talked about it. Wax on, wax off.
Karate Kid.
Thank you. Karate Kid type movie. And it spit this out. Like, it was a hodgepodge. There was a lot of funky stuff. There was roads that led nowhere.
For me, it left me wanting more.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to say it was a slow story, but it was, they took longer to tell the story. They could have told it a lot shorter.
Yeah. And these kids, so it's been 15 years, right? 20 years?
Something like
30
that.
years, something, I don't know. They look nothing like their 20-year-old self. Pretty much when you turn 20, you look like yourself at 40.
I'm okay with that. They're actors. I'm sure when they were casting the teenagers, they probably got kids that actually were in martial arts to make the fighting look like, legit. But especially
you don't typically grow shorter as you age until you get like to a elderly age. Then you lose a couple inches.
Yeah, but you have to remember this was a small budget movie.
Yeah, I know. But the Danny kid, I was just like, couldn't you just age the guy you got to be the teenager? Because this guy looks nothing. I wasn't sure which character he was when he popped up. I mean, he did a good job. He was entertaining. But that totally threw me off. I was just like, what?
I'm okay with it. Like, that wasn't a focal point of the story. It was flashbacks, basically, on a bad VHS tape.
Yeah, it was really bad.
So it didn't bother me at all. I mean, just think about all the other TV shows and movies where the kids don't match.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah.
This
Is Us did probably the best job, except for with one of the characters. She went from being super tall to being short to being tall. It was very weird. You're just like, what?
I mean, technically, the Jim and Danny could have played the younger versions.
Yeah.
The what other guy? The healer.
Yeah.
I mean, since he's kind of gotten fatter, he wouldn't have looked.
No.
So.
And for some reason, they had him bald and then wearing a toupee.
Yeah. The only part I liked about that toupee part was when it first twisted and you noticed it.
That was funny.
What I don't understand is that once he lost it, he stopped wearing it.
Right.
I'm like, just put it back on.
Yeah, no one cares. I think it's because Carter had it.
I know, but he could have I'm sure he had more than one.
And then Carter, like...
I see that as sibling rivalry.
Like, the character, I don't know... Like, Danny and Jim looked kind of younger. Like, they still looked older, but they were kind of younger looking. And then you have these other two guys that looked way older than them. And that just bothered me. I don't know. He was a bad actor, but I did like his character. Even though he was supposed to be kind of a villain.
He was just a jock. That's how I saw him, as a jock.
Well, I think he was like the nerdy kid who really, really wanted to belong, and he wasn't allowed to. And then he got to where he's at now, and
he just stuck with it, and they were just stuck with him.
Pretty much. He did kind of remind me of Dwight a little bit.
Yeah. I was just kept thinking, it's like, oh my gosh, we should go do like karate with the little kids like Charlie Murphy. Charlie Murphy.
Let's see here. Oh, so my first thought was when we see the Sifu when he goes down.
Yeah.
I was like,
the end.
That guy barely touched him. Why is he dying?
The touch of death.
Yeah, we didn't know about that at the time. So I was just like, he didn't even like kick him or knock him out. Why is he dying right now? It didn't make any sense. I was like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
And then we find out later that there's like magic touch move that kills people.
While the three tigers were trying to investigate his death, there were these three kids that worked at the restaurant.
Yeah.
And they wanted to learn Kung Fu. You know, kids, they get obsessed with shit. But their Sifu said, no, I'm not teaching again. Yeah. But still, they still looked up to him. They continued on their own way. And eventually, there was a challenge between the baby tigers and the grown-up tigers. And the grown-up tigers win, and the kids tell them, listen, it wasn't us. We didn't kill him. We respected the dude. Yeah. We would have loved for him to have taught us. Basically, we're just a bunch of punk-ass kids. Yeah. I would have very much have liked them at the end to have taken it seriously and learned the skill properly. I would have loved to have seen them like maybe turn their life around.
Yeah.
I felt like they needed to come back because in the end of their scene, it really shows that they're just kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're not bad kids, not like evil kids. You know, they're average teenagers causing a muck, but not evil.
Yeah, no, I think that would have been great. Like having him with Danny and his son learning how to do all this. Like that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Or have him at the dojo with the other guy.
Yeah.
Who was teaching people still. I agree. I think that would have been a really clever little twist.
Yeah.
But they did not do that.
Yeah, the kids pretty much just fell off. They were used and then they were discarded. Yeah. And it was a missed opportunity.
It was. We also had the story with Danny and his son, which I actually found was the best part of the movie.
Dude, that kid was a good actor. Like he did sad good.
He did.
Yeah, it hurt. His poor little sad, disappointed face, that hurt.
Yeah. And just their interactions and stuff. And with the mom, I thought that was really interesting. The mom's kind of a bitch. For sure.
I will say, like, at the end when he's speaking with her and he's saying, let's face it, you're a better mom and dad than I am. I was like, okay, so you know what? Reflecting back, maybe she's at the end of her rope with him. Yeah. You know, like, we saw her being a bitch, being mean, being what we felt was unreasonable. Yeah. But how do we know that this is just another long list of failures he has done?
Well, it also sounds like, I mean, she wasn't great to her son either. She was
taking it out on him, the kid.
Like he got beat up because he was trying to stand up for his friend. Yeah. And she was like, well, we'll decide what your punishment is later. I'm like, he's going to get in trouble for getting beat up.
I know.
I didn't throwing salt in the wound.
I didn't like that either. No, she was more concerned about this elite school he's in. Yeah. And she doesn't want him to get kicked out of it.
Yeah. And then she wouldn't even let his son, her son, hug the dad goodbye.
And he looked so sad again. Yeah. As a father, like I would have gotten up and gone to my kid and hugged him, given him a kiss and be like, good night, I'll talk to you tomorrow. I love you. Like, you're not going to keep me away from my kid at all.
And, you know, like, okay, he works in insurance. What is so last minute, like the emergencies?
I know, because it's the weekend. He's like, I'll have it done in the office by the morning. Morning of what, Monday? So that means you can do this on Sunday?
I was like, what important insurance? Like, unless you have like a contract with some business or something, what the hell can't wait for the next day or the next week? I was just like, that doesn't seem
even
accurate.
then, does he even get back to it? Because, you know, that's when they find out the Sifu is dead and the next day is the funeral. And then they spend a week investigating the murder. I'm assuming because his job is so important to him that this investigation is happening afterward.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because if you're skipping out work, then what was the whole point of that?
Yeah, it didn't make any sense. Like, had he been a lawyer and had some kind of thing, or he'd been in IT and maybe they had like an IT problem.
I can see IT. Yeah. But court, I mean, they have business hours Monday through Friday. You may have a large case that has to be filed by Monday at 8 a.m. Yeah. But still, you have like Sunday to work on it. Yeah. You know?
So I was just like, what?
Yeah.
I work in insurance. What emergency? Like, what thing has to be done by like, that just seems stupid.
And on top of that, he was going to have it at his boss's desk by morning, which would mean Monday morning, right? Because, you know, the boss isn't going to go in Sunday morning. Yeah. So
it was all very weird.
Yeah.
There was a lot of hodgepodge.
I feel so bad for that kid.
Yeah. It was strange. And then their friend like forgot how to do all their special Tai Chi, Kung Fu, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It had a special name. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah. I can see you having your muscle memory being more in tune with obviously like your kickboxing or whatever it is he was doing nowadays. But I think you should still know the stance.
Yeah, because like of all of three of you, you at least are still in that world. And you're telling me that you're like, I don't remember how to do any of this. Yeah. You just saw two other people do it right before you and you couldn't remember.
Not only that, but stuff that you learned as a kid, especially the repetition of these lessons that they had, it should be muscle memory. Like those things are honed into you. Like I know stupid little songs from when I was a kid. I can say 'Twas the Night Before Christmas like half of the way. I could say the half of that whole thing from memory right now because we had to do it at school, in elementary school.
Yeah.
You know?
Like I was a bowler. If I was to go bowling right now, would I be very good? No. But give me like a game and starting the next game, I would be way better than I was the game before. Like it takes a bit to get into it, but this guy just acted like he never seen this before in his life, had never been around it. He just was like, I don't know. Yeah. And I can't remember. It's not come to me. I was like, what?
Yeah. He should have, I think the way they should have played it more, he should have just freaked out and be like, I can't remember.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like, I can't remember. I'm drawing a blank. Oh shit. You know, like that would have been more believable. Like you freaking out and blanking out.
Yeah.
You know, then it'd be like, okay, he's just, another thing would have been like if you had let him fight first.
Yes. That would have made more sense.
If you had let him fight first and then freaked out drawing a blank, like, I can't remember, what do I do? Then I would have seen that be more believable.
Yeah, and they have like a rule that like someone goes first.
Yeah, like you defend or you attack.
Yeah, and it would have made more sense if he
defended
had gone first and he was the one attacking because he's the one that has to do the fancy little bows and stuff first. And then he could have been standing there and been like, oh God, I don't remember how to do this. That would have made sense.
I think for him, actually, for Jim, it would have been easier to defend.
Yeah.
Because defending, you just make sure you don't get hit.
Yeah.
You could use any skill you want. Attacking, I'm sure there's rules on what types of attacks you can do. Like you can't punch. We're not punching, you know?
Yeah, that would have made so much more sense.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so there's just a random person at a park that sells toys? Or was that a birthday party and he just stole someone's
No.
stuff?
Like the bigger parks, I can see that. You know, like Central Park where they sell like little stuff. I know they have little like motorized boats so you could swim it like in the little pond, you know, so I can see that. Okay. And like major parks.
It just looked like it was a table set up for a kid's birthday party. And he like bought a gift from someone. And I was just like, well, what is he doing?
No, yeah. They sell toys, trinkets,
all right,
little candies. But those are like the big fancy parks. And it has to be like only on the weekend. Like you're not going to find that chick there like every day.
Yeah.
Well, maybe in New York because that's different. But
let's see here. That's really all I had. I didn't have anything else. What about you?
Here's my thing. They meet at the park to, the two divorced parents to switch off the kid.
Yeah.
Why would they meet at an actual bench and not just in the parking lot?
Thank you. I was wondering the same thing.
You know, like why go all the way? And on top, okay, so fine, you're going to sit on a bench. Why did you pick a bench so far away?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, do we live on either side of this park and that's the halfway point? I don't understand.
And why can't he just pick you up at your house?
Yeah. Like, was it errand day or like?
I know some parents do that. They meet at like a mutual place.
But that's different. That's for like problem divorcee
But they
people.
didn't seem like they had that.
No.
You know, so I was just like, what in the world? Why? And why such a busy ass park?
It's Saturday, you know?
Yeah.
I could see it being busy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was a very busy park, and he had to try and find a place to park first and then go get his kid. And she's like, this is taking forever.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you picked the busy ass park on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm. I feel like this was a decision that was made at this, you know, drop of a dime.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we'll meet at the park Saturday at 10 a.m. and we'll meet here. Yeah. And then they decided this years ago and just never updated it. They just never updated it.
Maybe. One notable thing I have is during his fight with the really good guy at the end, he like takes a break and he starts meditating in the middle of the fight.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, wow. I guess that's a thing you could do, a tactic.
Yeah. I do like in the second fight where he just starts running to like run the clock. And I was like, is he running? And then you realize, well, hell yeah, you can run.
Yeah, might as well.
Right?
It worked.
Another thing that was never discussed in the movie was when they go to this fancy restaurant and there's a waiter who recognizes them.
Yeah.
You know, and like obviously when they were kids, they were like undefeated. They were some, you know, they what's the word? They peaked in high school, I guess. So they were known. But I would have loved to have seen that kid in the flashbacks. Maybe he could have been the one recording it, like the video camera.
Right.
You know, you could have just heard his voice or something.
Yeah, because it came out of nowhere. They're just... Because the first time they went there...
back together.
Yeah, it didn't seem like he knew them.
No, it didn't.
And then all of a sudden, the second time, he was like a homer.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God, you guys eat for free, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I was just like... Did you know them before? Because it didn't seem like
or did you know them now afterwards? Like this villain, was he like an actual villain to like all the different dojos? And now that he's been defeated, like everybody knows about, like those are points of the story that could have really helped really round out the story.
And we did not have that. I did like at the end where he kicked the guy's ass.
Yeah.
And he like kicked him into the building and it looked like he broke his neck. And then they just left him. After,
they called 911 on his behalf.
Yeah, they did. But who knows if they'll be able to find him. He's just on a random roof.
I'm sure once he catches his breath, he'll be able to tell them where he is. And I feel like because of the whole honor system, he won't say what happened.
True. Probably not.
So yeah, they pretty much got away with it.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I had nothing else.
I guess a little backstory. This movie came out back in like 2020 of August, but I don't know where it was released because it just says Fantasia.
Yeah.
So maybe it was like direct to video or something. But then it did have its movie release in May of 2021, and it only made $118,000. But it doesn't even say how much it costs. So it's definitely indie, right? So yeah.
Weird.
I don't know any of these actors except the main actor, Danny. Like I've seen him before.
Yeah, I feel like he looks familiar.
But I can't specifically tell you from where.
I think his wife, I feel like I've seen her in stuff before too. But yeah, I couldn't tell you where. Well, April.
Yes.
What would you rate this?
I would, because of the deception.
Yeah.
I was hugely let down over what I thought this film was going to be.
Yeah.
So while it was an enjoyable film, I wouldn't watch this again.
No.
So I'm going to give this a middle of the road 5 out of 10. I always got the best part of the chicken, which was completely random.
Yeah, very random. I would say this was definitely more disappointing than I thought it would be. I already was kind of like, okay. But definitely not as good as I was hoping based on the trailer. So I would give this a 4 out of 10 toupees.
So, question. If the trailer was more true to the film, I don't think I would have wanted to watch it.
Yeah, no. They definitely did some good marketing.
They did.
On that one.
I'm surprised they didn't make more money.
Well, yeah.
Well, again, a pandemic, so it may, because it's an indie film, maybe it wasn't released everywhere as well.
Indie
indie film.
No, because the Sifu.
Oh yeah, yeah. I just kept wanting to call him sensei or master.
Oh. The wording was driving me crazy. Like, I don't know if these are real terms.
Well, that's another thing I didn't understand, because apparently this was Chinese teachings. Yeah. So then why were they excited about going to Japan?
Yeah.
You know, shouldn't they be more excited about going to some Chinese tournament?
You would think.
So, or is this like some kind of national thing like the Olympics, and every year it happens somewhere different?
Yeah, I don't know.
Again, maybe if we knew more about Kung Fu championships, we would understand that, but we don't.
What's really funny is that at one point they say, you're going to Japan. And I go, did they say Japan? And you guys were like, no, they said pen.
No, I didn't say that.
Well, Susan said that. And I was like, oh, okay, I couldn't tell if they said Japan or pen. And then it sounded like they were like, pen.
Well, see, I heard what you said. I heard Japan. Yeah. And then you said, did they say Japan? And I thought Susan was being funny when she said pen. Yeah. And I was like, I just continued focusing on the movie. I knew you were asking. Yeah. And then I thought she was being funny and that you would realize she was being funny. So I didn't say anything, but I always heard Japan.
Yeah. And then later she was like, oh no, they did say Japan. I was like, okay, I thought it was weird. Well, she was like, they don't give you letters to go to Japan. And I was like, oh, I figured he got into some kind of karate thing.
Yeah, no, they got invited to like a Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat.
All right.
That's our review.
Yeah, that's it.
It's on Netflix. It's an okay movie. Yeah. It's definitely serious. Well, it's more on the serious side compared to the trailer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still not life and death. No. It still has its...
Sort of is.
It still has its humor.
Yeah.
This is a movie that you can do some kind of like if you're a knitter, this would be a great movie for you to knit to.
I feel like I need to clean my palate and watch a different movie that I know will hit, you know?
Yeah.
Like I need some kind of cleansing from watching this. That's how I feel.
Well, we'll see what's in store next week.
But all right, guys. So April, where can they find us?
Two Chicks Talkin Flicks over on Instagram.
You can find us at Two Chicks Talkin Flicks at gmail.com.
We have a Facebook, Two Chicks Talkin Flicks.
And you can find us over at TikTok at Two Chicks Talkin Flicks.
Yeah, so tell your friends we're over on Spotify.
Apple, Google,
Buzzsprouts.
Well, yeah.
Amazon. And a bunch of other places.
Yeah. The only one we're not on is Pandora.
I was going to say not Pandora, right? Yeah.
Someone goes, and one of the groups I'm in, they're like, it's been like a month and I'm still not accepted in Pandora. Is that typical? I go, it's been 2 years for me. And other people are like, oh, same.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, we will never be on Pandora. And at this point, do I really want to be? Probably not.
Whatevs.
So yeah, find us. I mean, if you're listening to this right now, you know where you found us, but tell your friends, rate, review, give us some stars.
See.
So, all right, guys. Well, that's all we got.
Toodles.
Bye. This episode was produced by Two Chicks Talkin Flicks. Music was produced by Michael Giovanni. If you like this episode, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to be a part of the show, have a movie suggestion, or just want to give us some love, you can email us at twochickstalkinflicks@gmail.com. Thanks, guys. Toodles.